Jazz trading Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it's ironic that these two teams are playing right now because it was the Dallas Mavericks that sparked all this change and movement for the Utah Jazz this offseason. They lost to the Jazz in the first round. The Jazz lost to them in the first round, I should say. And Luka didn't play the first 3 games of that series. And Danny Ainge, he found that unacceptable, and he showed it through his actions. They part ways with head coach Quinn Snyder after 8 years. He brings in his guy from Boston, Will Hardy, makes him the youngest coach in the NBA at 34 years old. Then he trades Rudy Gobert, sent shockwaves across the NBA landscape. That begs the question, what is next for Donovan Mitchell? Danny Ainge hasn't exactly given him a vote of confidence publicly, and Donovan Mitchell, I've been told he is not here in Las Vegas. He's on vacation, and people in his circle who usually have access to him have told me that they haven't been able to get through to him, and that's been intentional. He hasn't been getting back to people. He's been extremely quiet on his thoughts on his situation in Utah and what the Jazz are doing. And guys, you know what they say, silence speaks volumes. Back to you guys.
It does.
It really does. That's a great point. And typically after a blockbuster deal like that, when you've got a couple stars, you would assume that the front office would have conversations with, Donovan Mitchell to kind of get a gauge and give him an idea of what their thought process is, what they're looking to do. That can be a bit perplexing that they have not gone that route, because right now they're kind of a blank canvas.
Yep.
Remember, no Royce O'Neal from last year, no Joe Ingles from last year. Obviously, Rudy's gone as well, and they're bringing in not just the draft picks, they're bringing in some guys that are going to be able to have an impact on the floor. So they're going to be a competitive team, but when you look at Donovan Mitchell's numbers across the board, that guy is a stud, and he's also proven himself to be capable in the postseason, although the team hasn't had that kind of success. So that's going to be another one of those dominoes that we will see fall that could really reverberate throughout the league.
And you also add in the fact you have a new head coach who will have a new coaching system and playing system, both offensively and defensively. That can adjust your mindset as well, too. So it makes you wonder, because typically when you see a blockbuster trade like that, your new or your current that remains franchise player, i.e. Donovan Mitchell, typically would take to social media or to the media and talk about the excitement of who you're bringing in, what the trade looks like, and what it does for the team. And as Jason said, it's been silent.
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting because, listen, Danny Ainge, as we talked about, he's proven in terms of his ability to construct rosters. Never really showed the desire to make the trades when he was in Boston in terms of the actual personnel, but did a great job in terms of the player evaluating and drafting. And so that could be very beneficial for them moving forward. But ultimately, you still got to put a product out there on the floor that can be competitive with a first-year coach, although one that has, a guy who's got a lot of upside as a coach that a lot of people are high on. But you still, like you said, you got to find a new system. You got to define it. You got to figure out what works, what personnel system works. So